Good morning. Oh, Lord. Let's try that again. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am so excited to be here this morning, and I am particularly thankful to the Ruiz family, Rosemary, and the twins for the invitation to the Cedar Hill Chamber of Commerce, for you trusting them, and as well as for Al and the beautiful young lady who introduced me. I'm still praying that God don't send you to hell for all the lies. I am thankful to be here. I am Byrd Sr. When I was in corporate America, I was the controller for Medco Construction, who builds all of the Baylor hospitals. Our annual revenue was close to $200 million. I was the financial guy behind it. We're so glad and thankful for the invitation and for the greetings from my friend, councilman from the great city of Cedar Hill, and to all of you. My job today is to talk strategies. Look at somebody and say, I need a strategy. And the way that we do this, those of you who know anything about preachers, we think that we've done a good job when you talk back to us. Now, whether or not we've done a good job or not, if you talk back to us, the bleeding will stop quicker. To all of my church members and my wife who's not here with me, thank you for coming. I was pretty sure that Rosemary chose the wrong Andre. My son's name is Andre, and when I got the call, I'm thinking, truly they were trying to get the more talented Andre, which is my son, and not the old man Andre. But here I am, and we have a job to do this morning. I know that I am the opening act, so my job is to set the platform and then get out of the way. And so we're very grateful that I am not coming behind these very talented people that are next. I want to talk about strategy, and I want to talk about strategy from a different perspective. I want to talk about a trip that I took a few years ago, and the trip was quite enlightful and enlightening. It took me to a part of the world. My wife and myself, our pastime is to really travel. We enjoy traveling. We particularly different cultures that maybe don't look like us, maybe don't worship like we do, and we've been blessed to do that. I've hit almost every continent. There's 2 continents I have to go to, but we've almost hit every continent. There's one I don't want to go to, so we're going to die with that on my bucket list, if that's okay with you. But we want to start with our theme. Let's see if I got this thing right. There we go. And as I often like to do, I will sometimes make up my own definitions of what words mean, but I had to go to Cambridge Dictionary to get this one. Momentum, the speed of an object in motion. So it is virtually impossible to have momentum on Monday if you don't start before Monday. If you don't start before Monday, there's no way to have momentum by Monday, which means that if you're going to be successful, success doesn't start when everyone else starts. Success get up early, successful people stay late. Movement means it must happen while other people are sleeping. I like This Is My Life quote from Dave Ramsey, and I know that all of you know of Dave Ramsey. This is my life quote. If you will live like no one else now, later you can live like no one else. So if we do the hard things now, we can, when we get to the twilights of our years, we can live on a level like no one else. We don't have to worry so much about inflation. We don't have to worry so much about retirement. We don't have to worry about so much. At the height of my financial career, I was driving a car that was 12 years old with no AC. At the height of my financial career, I was driving a car that was 12 years old with no AC because, truthfully, it was getting me from point A to point B. And so I was not trying to impress anybody. I was trying to make sure that when I got to a certain age, I could live the life that I promised my wife that we would live, and she was crazy enough to believe that I could do it. So I had a lot of pressure to perform. So Dave Ramsey, this right here really spoke to me, and prayerfully, his quote will speak to you as you plan the strategy for your life and for your businesses. I want to show you now. Woohoo! There we go. This is my wife, Jacqueline, and this is she and I on Mount Sinai, which is in Egypt. The mountain of Moses, 7,497 feet above sea level, and it takes 3,750 steps to get to the summit. Now, I'll tell you two things right out the back. I'm afraid of heights, and I'm fat. The afraid of heights is the important part in that story, is that when we were over in Egypt, the one thing that I wanted to do, since I was that close, was take advantage of my positioning. I don't care what your business is. I don't care what you do for a living or what you're trying to make your living doing. You must take advantage of your current position, because opportunities don't have to knock twice. So while you're there, take advantage of where you are. I enjoyed when I was single. I really enjoyed being married, but I maximized both spectrums of my life. So Mount Sinai is where I am, sitting at the top of Mount Sinai, and I want to talk and take my next few minutes of talking about the lessons I've learned that is important to business on that journey to Mount Sinai. And it is not necessarily, this picture is me sitting at the top. Look at somebody say, he made it. I made it to the top of Mount Sinai. Man, and I did it without getting divorced. I made it without, I barely made it, I'm going to be honest with you. The road wasn't easy, but I made it. And I think that what makes the journey important are the struggles. What makes the relationship important? I tell people when I do marriage counseling, it is not the honeymoon that marriages are really made. It is when you struggle and you decide to stay with her, you decide to stay with him. And so I'm here, and I am excited to be there. So let's go to the next slide. I want to talk about this. Okay. Momentum is a mixture of moving sources that positively affects your acceleration. That's my own definition. What is momentum? Momentum is a mixture. So momentum is just not one thing. It is a mixture of moving sources that positively affects your acceleration. We're trying to get someplace, and when we pick up momentum, we end up getting there quicker. We end up getting there faster. But I've learned that if you're trying to do it by yourself, you're probably doing it wrong. If anybody could have done ministry by himself, it would have been Jesus. And the first thing that he did after he was baptized was he chose 12 people. And the Bible declares that one of the 12 was the devil. So even those people that are not on you or on your side can be a player in your success story, and should be. It is the critics that really tell you what you need to straighten out in your life. It is the critics that sometimes tell you when you're on track and when you're off track. So momentum is a mixture of moving sources that positively affect you, that should be your acceleration. Here we go. All right, there we go. Momentum mixture. Setting your priorities, seeing the value of all players, selecting the right partners to help you perform, and then sustaining the patience to endure. These are strategies that you must have. You must have your priorities right. You must know the difference between a player and a partner. And then you must also know that everything's not going to come overnight, that you have to you must sustain and be patient to endure. This is a 5-star hotel on the coast. The Red Sea is right outside our suite door. When we walked in, we had someone, we didn't have to touch the luggage. We didn't have to do anything. The room was ready. All of the stuff I had ordered before the trip was in the room. We had a wonderful time. But if you notice something in all of these pictures, that it seemed like nobody else is there. I want you to focus on that because, I mean, as beautiful as this place was, and it was absolutely gorgeous, you could walk out. I swam in the Red Sea. There's a picture I'll show you later that it was a little painful because it had jellyfish. And what I learned from that is I don't care how beautiful the view is, there's still danger in some water. But we're here, but there's no one else around. Does that mean that no one else was with us? The hotel was packed. But at the time that I was up, everyone else was sleeping. Let me say that again. At the time that I was awake, everyone else was sleeping. You cannot be successful. You cannot be a winner when you're doing what everyone else is doing. You must learn your niche. You must learn how to prioritize your day. And the truth be told, I was there not for the hotel. I was there for one reason only, and that was to get to the top of the mountain. My only reason that I'm at the swanky hotel is because that was the best place for me to stay. But my reason and my priority, everyone else at this time was probably in the bar, in the restaurant, or swimming in the pool. These are taken at different times of our stay, but we found ourselves always by ourselves because our priority was not to party. I did not go there to party. I went there to get to the top of the mountain. So every decision that I made was in line with my priority. So can we go here real quick? All right. Setting priorities. Your reason for being must not be changed by the temptation of belonging. Your reason for being there must not be changed by the temptation of belonging. It would have been, I don't make friends. I did not make one friend in Egypt. That was not why I was there. I did not connect with anybody. I didn't make lifelong friends. That was not why I was there. I was there to get to the top of the mountain. So I did not get sidetracked by the beauty of the hotel. I did not get sidetracked by the level of the service. I stayed focused, and while everyone else was doing their thing, I was planning. I also learned this. Not only must I, I'm going to go back one. I want to go back. Not only must I plan and do the polar opposite of what everyone else is doing, if as a strategy, look at somebody and say, that's a strategy. Being common is never exquisite. Common is never rare. And so what makes you successful is when you find that niche that makes you different. And when you prioritize that difference in order to help not only yourself but other people. But setting that priority was important. And I'll tell you, my wife did not complain one time because before we got there, I told her what the priority was. But something happened, and I found out that I could not only set my priorities, but I still could not get to Mount Sinai by myself. And so I needed players. I needed someone else to help me get there. And the players are those who give you access, but do not personally get involved in your journey. They are the people that will give you a reference, but they don't care whether you use it or not. They are the people that will drive the bus but never connect with you personally. They are the people that get you from point A to point B. And I want to tell you that the player is very important, and this is why. I got called into, someone thought I had a video, but this is on purpose. Because the player, all the time I was getting to Mount Sinai, I was being driven by someone I could not see his face. He never gave his name, and we had to ride in the back of a vehicle covered up. Uh-oh. I cannot tell you his name. I do know that I had to give him some cash money up front. And when I did peek from underneath the veil of the covering, I saw men with rifles and guns, and he was paying them to let us through. Are you impressed yet? And so I can't tell you much about that player other than when I peeked out, I saw what the player was doing, and he was paying off other players. His job was to take me from this 5-star hotel to the place that I needed to start my journey. But actually, the momentum started when I got in that car, and he was merely a player. I cannot tell you his name. I do not know his name. And I'm still kind of traumatized. I have some psychological problems because I looked from under the veil too soon. And I told my wife, keep your eyes closed and play dead. Because obviously something was happening. Are you with me yet? And so momentum often starts in the shadow of darkness where desire meets distress. Momentum often starts in the shadow of darkness. I remember when I was the first, Mr. Sims, I was the first African-American controller for this hotel chain, and they shipped me from Dallas to Jupiter Beach Resort. You might not know where Jupiter is, but Jupiter Beach, it was known for Burt Reynolds back in the day. He had the Burt Reynolds Theater, and the hotel that I was taking over was right across the street. It was a beautiful view. But I was not happy there. My wife was not happy there. We spent about a year there. We had just renovated the house, and we found out that we didn't want to raise our daughter, who was about 12 then, on the beach wearing thongs. And so, psychologically, I just couldn't get my head around it. So she said, baby, we're moving back to Texas. I said, yes, ma'am. But it was at that point that I went from being an employee to an owner. It was at that point that my life shifted, the paradigm shifted. But it happened at that point, because I was in darkness. I did not have a job to come back. The company that had sent me there would not hire me back because they wanted me to stay. They offered me more money to stay, but my family was more important than those finances. And I want to tell you that when you really hit this point, you need to start praising God, because breakthrough is coming. Forgive me for being a little preachy, but this is where breakthrough happens. It happened in that car when the man paid off those guards to get me past whatever checkpoint it was that would hinder me from getting to the mountain that I must climb. Then you must have partners. Look at somebody and say, you need a partner. Partners are different than players, because partners are those people in your life that help you perform. Partners You must have strategic partners. And if you know anything about business, you cannot do business well by yourself. That's why we have the Chambers of Commerce. That's why we have economic development. That's why the Bible even said, where two or three will touch and agree, you can speak to mountains. So it is always about partnership. And so after you figure out who the players are, don't get caught up that the players don't like you. The players don't invite you to dinner. You don't really want to go to dinner with the players because the players only play for the money. But the partners are there to help you perform. The partners are those in your life that help you perform. There he is. That was my partner. And he called me, and I did not know. To him, he called me Father. From day one, I just met him. He said, Father, I'm going to help you climb this mountain. I know you did not come from that hotel just to look at your wife go up the mountain. I know you're a man, and my job is to help you climb the mountain. Now, partners also come with resources. They don't just come with resources, but what he did, he had camels. And he understood that those 3,750 steps for someone that had the desire to go, but maybe not the capabilities to go. I mean, come on, my working out is a piece of sweet potato pie. That word, somebody said it, yeah. That's my working out, and when I'm really feeling good, I'll get sweet potato and apple pie. So that's my working out. And my wife has never really struggled with weight, so she gung-ho. If you're a male, you can't let your wife outpace you. So I don't care what it is, I'm going to go. And we see these camels, and they said, Father, you need a camel. I said, no, I can make it. He said, Father, I'm your partner. You need a camel. And he said, the camel is going to take you 3,000 feet. But you still have to do the 750 by yourself. But I can help put you in position. They can't do it for you, but the partners can put you in position to be successful. They can't make it. They can only do what they have been equipped to do. And what he has been equipped to do is that he had 2 camels. And I wish I did have a video in here, but I took it out. When the camels saw me, the camels saw me. I almost got offended. But then I looked at me and I said, well, okay, camel, I agree. I agree with you, Mr. Camel. Please don't put the 200 and something pounds on me and try to make me go up this mountain. I want to stop here because partners, not only will they help you by what they bring, they will also help you by what they say. And if you're here and you're trying to be successful and you don't have cheerleaders in your corner, if you don't have someone saying, yeah, you can do this. I don't care what everybody else is saying, you can do this, you can achieve this. If you don't have, not a yes man, there's a difference. A yes man will say yes to anything and don't really mean it. But a partner will encourage you, and I'll tell you, every step of the way, our guide was saying, Father, you could make it. Father, you could make it. He wasn't talking to my wife because it was easy for her. It was easy for her. But it's never been easy for me. I'm the head of the house. I have all of these burdens. I have the obligation to provide for my family. I put her in that situation. And now I got to get her to where I told her that we would go. Have you ever quit your job because you have a dream and then things are not always working out the way that you thought it would in your head? I'm going to say call your partner. Call your partner. Let them speak into your life. Partners not only know when to speak, but they know when to refresh you. So not only do they bring their resources, but they also bring their word, and they also will bring refreshment. This is on the side of Mount Sinai. Have you ever had a Starbucks on the side of Mount Sinai? That's what this is. I forgot to tell you, it is about 32 degrees outdoors. And if you know anything about mountain climbing, the higher you go, the colder it gets. So at the base of the mountain, it is about 32 degrees. And Alan, as we go up the mountain, it's only getting colder. And I can't be a sissy in front of my wife. But this was heaven on earth. When I almost saw the Lord when I got to the coffee shop. I'm just to be honest with you, Al. I was so excited. He brought us there, but that is also at the point where he made me get off my camel and said to me, literally, I've done as much as I can do, Father. The rest is up to you. Perseverance. The ability to endure the discomfort of the movement. Momentum is about movement. And sometimes the movement is uncomfortable. I'm going to go back. Where are we? You see that camel? Do you see the saddle? That is the largest saddle that they have. Oh, y'all. Look at me. Look at the saddle. That is the largest saddle that they have. It didn't come in small, medium, and large, and extra large. It came in standard size. And as fine as I am now, I am still not standard size. And so can you imagine riding that up the mountain? Perseverance, the ability to endure the discomfort of the movement. Strategically, there will be times in your company, there will be times in your life that you're going to have to persevere. But just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's not necessary. Discomfort sometimes is the motivation to move you from where you are to where you ought to be. And even though that coffee shop in the middle of this, and I literally, I'm not going to lie to you, I told my wife, baby, go on, I'm going to wait for you here. I'll keep the lights on for you. You go ahead. And she looked at me and said, no, Dre, we've come this far, and I don't want to get there without you. Perseverance. My time is just about up, and I'm almost done. There we are. Y'all put your hands together. We made it. And I know I look like I really love my wife, but actually I told you I'm afraid of heights. So I'm holding on to her for dear life. But we made it. That is not the climax of the story. I think maybe you missed it. I think maybe you missed it. From prioritizing, from players, from partners, now to perseverance and all of those key points that I told you on the way, there's something that I'm sure you missed. That the journey started under the cloud of darkness. We had to get in the car with the player at 10:30 p.m. the night before. We had to travel through our midnight. We had to start our climb at 2 o'clock in the morning. But it was in the morning. Can I tell you something? It could be in the morning in your business career and still be dark. Just because it's morning don't mean that you have seen the light yet. But it is still morning. And sometimes you have to declare to yourself, strategically, I've made the turn from midnight to morning. That is me celebrating, because under the cloud of darkness, the journey began. Under the cloud of darkness, under the cloud, under the threat of being shot, being physically incapable of doing it by myself, needing a partner, we made it to the summit. But it all started in the darkest time of night. And I began my ascent up the mountain in the morning, but still dark. If you look at this picture, it's around 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and we watched the sun come up together at the top of Mount Sinai. We watched the sun show up. And the whole goal, and what I learned while I was at the summit, is that it was not crowded at the top. What I learned at the summit is that it was not a lot of people there. They did not see what I saw. They did not see the sun rise over the horizon. They did not see, they had not felt the struggle of climbing a mountain in the darkness. But likewise, they could not feel the joy of finally getting there. I want to encourage you as you proceed through this conference. Don't think necessarily where you are. Put in mind where you're trying to go. And celebrate every step. And when you finally get there, thank God that you have experienced some things that other people could not experience. You will see some things that other people could not see. And you will go to your grave being able to tell the story that you conquered not only your fears, but you also conquered your mountains. That you changed financially the trajectory of your family because you declared that you would not just be an employee, you will be an owner. You're not going to go out to dinner every night because it requires sacrifices. You're not going to buy the brand new car because that's not why you're on the journey. Keep your eye on your goal and accomplish it. Understand. I want to go back, and this is where I close. Understand, my friend and my brother, I'm going back to the very beginning. Can you help me out? I want to go back to the very first slide, the one after that. One after that. Dave Ramsey. That's where I want to be. If you will live like no one else now, you can live like no one else later. Thank you for your time, and may God bless you.